No, they're not.
And on the road right now.
No, they're scrambling around that house right now.
You think they're even in scramble mode yet? Maybe.
Nah, I bet
we're not going to bother Steven.
No, he might bother us.
He may bother us.
He told me that.
He may bother us, but he is he's on vacation, much deserved vacation. He's been grinding. Let me tell you something. You know all about this. You're a wake up at 2 a.m. guy, and if you do this for 20-some years, the way you guys have, it's just kind of like second nature. I do wake up earlier because I'm an old man, but I don't wake up and get ready and get to work every day. I do this on Mondays, right? So I got a little week here to kind of get myself adjusted. I did go play poker last night.
You'll be just fine.
I did play poker. Left early, though. I told him, I said, I'm out of here. I got to be gone by 9:40. I was home at 10. Won some money.
Did you win a big pot? And
I did win.
I got to go, guys.
No, we played at the very end. And
I got to go.
I told them I was done. I went to the bathroom. They came out. They're going to play a little in between. They said, come on, you got to play in between. I said, all right, fine. And then I won. So there you go.
Got to go, guys. Just won the biggest pot of the night. We got to get up early.
There was no greasy pizza last night. It was better for me.
Yeah.
So it was better. But I got a nice, good night's sleep. And we had a wild day yesterday. Ooh. You heard J.J. Piccolo. We'll play quite a bit of J.J. Piccolo sound here because Stan Weber will be here at 6:30. We'll definitely we'll talk some Royals with Stan, but we'll also talk the National Football League because it happened last night. It was on. We had that on at poker. Could not hear the volume of the Hall of Fame interviews.
Okay.
It was great to see Jared Allen up there. So happy that he's in the Hall of Fame.
Super cool.
But that game was oof. Bad reports for Detroit, right? I mean, they don't have.
You can tell
their
the
OC.
Broadcast. They were totally. I mean, the game was secondary.
Oh yeah, that always is.
My favorite part, and probably most people probably didn't stick around for it, but had Brent Musburger in the booth.
I saw that.
It's great.
I didn't hear. So is he getting honored in the Hall of Fame or something?
Yeah, he's
as a
winning the
contributor or something.
The Pete Rozelle.
Yeah.
Announcers.
He was the National Football League. He's been around forever. It's great.
He was great. He told some great stories, and they put on my boy Dan Fauci and Dick Vermeil.
Oh yeah,
Dick Vermeil. He said that it's not verbatim, not Vermeil, but he said Brent Musburger could make a cockfight sound great.
He could. You are looking live.
Yeah.
So football is back.
It is.
Listen, the Chargers look great. The Lions look like a mess right now. It's preseason, and they're not playing the real guys.
Chargers money line was the no-brainer last night.
Easy money. Easy money. We were talking at poker. One of my buddies, he said he's on. He found a bet somewhere. Lions to miss the playoffs. The plus number.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious. Talk to Stan about how big of a loss. I mean, they lost both their coordinators.
Yeah.
And that's
what happened to Philly 2 years ago. Now, and they made the playoffs, but they got knocked out in the first round, and took them a while to get on their footing.
And they struggled. I mean, they had a big losing streak.
And that was a team that had been in the Super Bowl before.
Right.
The Lions have not been in the Super Bowl. Let's not make no mistake. They've been fun. It's been a great story. Dan Campbell's been awesome, but they have not been able to get it done.
Yeah.
And people think that Ben Johnson was as good as he gets.
He was the most sought after in the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
I mean, the last 2 seasons he was the most sought after assistant coach or coordinator.
It will be something to watch.
Yeah, absolutely.
It will be something to watch.
That's not a bad bet. I mean, I wouldn't take it. I still think they're going to be good.
Well, it's a tough division.
Yeah, it is.
It's a tough division. And I think the NFC is very competitive. I think the East is super competitive, right? I think multiple teams will be in the playoffs from the East. I think probably multiple teams from the North. You love your Rams?
I do. I'm a Rams guy.
You love your Rams?
I'm a Rams guy.
South's probably a one bid division, but
Sean McVay.
I don't know, man. It's that NFC is going to be fun to watch this year for sure, and that would be something if the Lions weren't able to kind of get back because that Central is tough.
Yeah,
it's tough for sure.
Well, and it'll be interesting because Minnesota's changing quarterbacks to going to basically a rookie quarterback. So
right.
It'll be interesting.
And year 2 for the Bears, and they have Ben Johnson.
Yep.
And the Packers have been kind of a lot of people's little dark horse favorite to.
Yeah, Jordan Love has to step up this year.
Be something.
So yeah, he got paid last year, and so yeah, that is probably one of the toughest divisions in all of football. So.
Yeah. And the Lions, it's hard to stay on top. We keep saying you take the Chiefs till the Chiefs don't do it, right? We're there with that. You take the Bills till the Bills don't do it.
Right.
I think you take the Eagles till the Eagles don't win their division. I don't know if we're there on the Lions.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
I wouldn't take them. I mean, but I still think they make the playoffs.
Yeah. Interesting bet, though.
Yeah.
Man.
Man.
I got a buddy who likes the futures. He says all over the futures.
That's a good.
It's on the futures. Spends a lot of time on it. So
if you know what you're doing, it's smart.
So we will begin the show with some J.J. Picollo sound, though, because it was a wild Major League Baseball trade deadline day. It was interesting. It was right about 2. It was right at the switch over from the zone to the program when Freddie Fermin trade happened. A couple of pitchers coming in from the Padres for Freddie Fermin. Then nothing happened for 2.5 hours. And then right there at the witching hour, made the trade with the Pirates. And then, late. J.J. Picollo said last night on the Zoom there was about 1 minute and 15 seconds to go on the clock when they made the trade and brought in Yastrzemski from the Giants. So they did a lot of things. So I want to play some sound. J.J. Picollo had a Zoom last night. It was supposed to be 5:30. Didn't start till, 5:45. It was busy. They were doing things. You got to make sure all these things get through. And they were trying to get the team was, I think at that point they were probably already in the air, the charter. But, who's getting on a plane, who's not. These are real-life things that are happening while we're doing this stuff. So I'm going to play some JJ sound. JJ's always very thoughtful on these Zooms. Long, thorough answers. So some of these clips are a little bit long, but I do want to play some for you because it happened a little bit late last night. We weren't on we had the Hall of Fame game on last night, so I want to play some of this good stuff for you. So let's just start this off with a recap of kind of how it all went down. Here's JJ talking about the trades the Royals made yesterday.
We started today with the clear objective that we were going to try to address starting pitching, and left last night having a pretty good idea that we might be able to execute a couple moves, and the 2 moves that we did execute were the 2 moves that we felt the best about with San Diego and with Pittsburgh. So it was nice to see that come together, the way our room was prepared, the way they did their work. And then once we were able to get, our hands on Falter, then it was a matter of trying to secure a bat somehow, which came around obviously extremely late since the tweet just went out. So all in all, we're pretty happy when you go back to picking up Randall last week and Frage a couple weeks ago. We feel like we've added to our offense with some guys with great experience. And then we were able to add to our pitching at a time of year where it's fragile. It's really fragile, as we've learned here recently. And I think what we've done is going to allow us to work through the year with the pitchers we have, the starting pitchers we have in an efficient way, in a way that's going to be healthy for all of them. And we're just excited that we were able to gain these guys who, when you add it up, I believe it's 14 years of control on the starting pitcher side of things with Berger, Kolick, and Falter. So all in all, pretty good day, and happy to answer whatever you might have.
This was an interesting approach to trade deadline. There are times when you're on the trade deadline, you think back to like 15 or something, where you are trying to go win the World Series. You know that you're signing for Johnny Cueto or you're trading for Johnny Cueto. He's likely going to be a rent-a player. You know the same thing with Ben Zobrist when you make those trades. These guys are going to be on your team for a couple of 3 months. You hope you have a postseason run. And for the Royals, they ended up having a parade. I mean, that was the best trade deadline you could have, because there have been plenty of great trade deadline deals that have, over the years, someone will come in and they'll play great, but they don't always win the World Series. So the Royals won the World Series when they did it. This was a different trade deadline. You heard JJ say it right there. Like 14 years of control. This was almost like a winter meetings trade deadline. They were trying to do 2 things. They were trying to make sure they could still compete right now, because as you heard him say, pitching is fragile. We'll play a clip in a little while here. You remember the conversations we had 2-3 months ago when Noah Cameron was pitching well? They got to sit someone down. They just have too many starting pitchers. You got to go with a 6-man rotation. You can't not pitch these guys. Well, all of a sudden, they got 3 of them left. That's just how it goes. So you have to get some guys. So they went and got some guys who can pitch now, for sure, and they aren't Johnny Cueto. You know, they aren't rent players. These are players that have control. Same thing last year as well. You remember the Lucas Ursig trade was a great trade. It's a guy who they've got a lot of control for. So they were kind of doing a couple of different things here. So one of the questions, Sam McDowell asked this one, you know, you're buying, you're selling, you're in, you're out, all those kind of things, right? Where are you right now? And so he asked kind of what made JJ feel that they could make these moves and for both the future and for right now.
For one, we're playing better right now. You know, I like the way we've played. We're starting to score some runs. I know we've had some games in between games we've scored runs where we don't, but there are signs that the offense is coming around. I think with the additions of Frage and Grichuk, or Grichuk, I think that has been very helpful. But the strength of the club is pitching. And, you know, we just got Hunter Harvey back, and he's healthy. He's pitched 3 times in 6 days. That's a great sign for us. If we can get back to that 7th, 8th, 9th inning with those 3 and get quality starts out of Lugo, Waka, Cameron, and now 2 of these 3 that we just acquired, our bullpen's going to be in good shape. And, you know, we believe in our team. We have. They haven't given us reason to ever say it's time to sell. If for no other reason, we're still a fairly young team with a young core together, and trying to build that culture of winning is extremely important to us. If we were 15, 20 games under 500, that's a different story. And we could have done a lot of different things because we have pitchers that people value. We have position players of value. I'm just really glad, and I know the team is, that we're not in that position where we felt like we had to. So I think we have a little bit more of a complete team. I think we spoke a week or 2 ago about how our bench and how the roster's evolved. And right now we didn't have the balance that we felt like we needed. You know, from a strategic standpoint, matching up late in the game. Now I feel like we have that balance, and Q's going to have options to make moves late in the game, and we become a tougher team to defend.
So basically, JJ saying they're not out of it, right? It's kind of like, it's almost no man's land. Like, you know, 2 weeks ago, I think we all felt, we were doing the math. I remember sitting here on a Monday morning with Steven, right when they had gotten to 100 games, and we said, if you want to get to 86 wins, which is what the wild card was last year, maybe higher this year, we don't know. But if you want to get to 86 wins after they had played 100 games, they needed to play 14 games over 500 down the stretch. And we're like, we haven't seen anything from this team to tell you they're going to be 14 games over 500 down the stretch. Well, you play well for a week and a half or so. All of a sudden, you don't have to play 14 games over 500 to get to 86 wins. Oh, maybe you only got to play like 11 over because, you know, and then it starts getting a little more realistic. They were 4.5, 5 games out of the wild card at one point. They're 3.5 right now. If you make up a game on the wild card every week, not every weekend, every week, if you made a game up on the wild card, you would be in the wild card on September 1st, and you'd still have 4 weeks to play. So it's a little bit like you just have to keep chugging along. You have to just, we all want to fast forward and say, where is everybody with the final week going in the season? But there are still a lot of games. It is just now August 1st. There's 2 full months of baseball to go. And this is a monstrous road trip that they're on. They're playing at Toronto, first place team in the East. Dominating the Yankees right now, correct? They're going to Boston. That's a wild card team that is about 5 games, 4.5, 5 games in front of the Royals. So this is a big test. And then they have another game. They only have 2 3-city road trips all year. Their first one was an abject failure, okay? They went to the Yankees, they went to Detroit, and they went to Cleveland. It was Cleveland, Yankees, Detroit in that order. There were 10 games in that trip. They went 2-8. That was like, everyone's like, what is going on with this team? They've played well enough against the teams who aren't like the elite teams. Now they're going to get to go play against 2 teams in the East who have better records than them. They have not played the Blue Jays yet this year. So they're going to get a chance to measure themselves against the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays are playing really well right now. So I think you check in next Friday and see where they are, and you hope the Royals aren't 6.5 back. That would be no good. But we'll watch and see how it goes. I want to play one more soundbite here before we break. I had to leave part of my question on here because JJ kind of cut me off. But that's kind of the whole point to go on with, why they made these moves. They're pitching better. And he said in the beginning, it's just so fragile. You got to have a lot of pitching. But I don't think they thought in their wildest dreams they would have to be making moves like this yesterday.
Did you think a few months ago you were going to have to trade for 3 pitchers?
No, I didn't think that a week ago. I didn't think that a week ago. But, we would have looked for starting pitchers. I mean, that is always, on your list of things because everything begins and ends with starting pitching. And as we were making these trades today, I was sitting overlooking our field and I'm watching Michael Lorenzen throw a live BP, and I'm excited that he's getting back on the mound. So you can never have enough starting pitching. You can never have enough depth in your system. Just look at the injuries all around the game. We dodged a huge, I don't know if we dodged a bullet. We were just very fortunate last year to run 5 guys and maybe say 6 with once we got Lorenzen and we messed around with Marsh a little bit to rest him. But that doesn't happen that often. I mean, having more and more bullets is really, really important. And, I think when we look at where we are right now with a healthy Chris Bubich next year and a healthy Cole Reagans and hopefully a healthy Marsh, and now you add these arms into the mix, I don't want to say we're not going to do anything this offseason with starting pitching, but it's certainly not going to be a priority unless we are unfortunate over the last 55 and we lose a couple of these guys. But I hopefully, we can knock on wood here that we can go into the offseason, focus on other things, and know that the depth of our starting pitching, especially, and that's not even counting the guys we have in our system. The guys that are, starting to move through the system that are getting closer. We want more and more and more starting pitching any way we can get it, and we'll continue to do that.
It was amazing last year. I mean, they had 5 guys with 25 starts or more, and no one else. I think Lorenzen had 6 starts, and no one else was even close to like double digits. This year, it's going to just be different. And there's plenty of starts down the stretch here. Now, listen, Lugo's gone out there basically every time. Waka's gone out there 21 times. Bubich went 20 times. He's done, though, right? So no more for him. Lorenzen's been hurt, but he mentioned earlier he was out there getting himself ready. If he's back, he's got 18 starts. Noah Cameron's got 14 starts. They're just going to have to do it different this year. And they don't know because it was funny. We were talking to him. He's like, well, they're on the plane. We haven't exactly talked. They were talking about, they got these 3 guys. Ryan Bergert, the lefty is Bailey Falter, and then Stephen Kolek. And like the last time they pitched, they haven't named a starter for Saturday yet. They'll get that done. But they're trying to figure out what will happen there. And Kolek had been optioned down, but he does not have to go spend time in the minors because he had not yet taken an assignment. So they've got 3 of these guys to make a couple of these starts coming up. They'll have to kind of figure out what they've got there. They just don't know yet. But they've got better options than – listen, I appreciate that Dick Mountain, Rich Hill, was able to come up and start a couple of games. But that was not going to be any way to go try to make the postseason. And Dallas Keuchel is down there running around in Omaha. There's not any way to get it done. The Hatch, they brought him up. They're much better today with their pitching than they were 2 days ago, yesterday, all that. So they made these moves. We'll see how it works out. Like I said, they got to go prove it on the field. See if it's a mirage on this offense or the offense is really getting better. Later in the show, we'll play some comments about Freddie Fermin. I know a lot of people love Freddie Fermin. The organization loved Freddie Fermin. But JJ was pretty simple about it. You get to have 2 starting pitchers come to your team for your backup catcher, and you got control on these guys.
Plus you
have to make
massive
those deals.
Depth at that position in your system. Massive depth.
We'll play it later, but I'll tell you, everyone who was fired up to think Carter Jensen's coming up right now, he's not.
Right.
Okay, Luke Maley is going to be the catcher.
But
September, I think Carter Jensen, if he continues to play well, will get a call up. Okay,
Sure.
but like right now, they're not going to throw that on him. Hey, come up and catch a bunch of guys you don't know who they are.
Right.
You know,
in the middle of a wild card run.
Yeah, it's not what they're doing. Anyway, we're underway here. We got a fun show coming up. Stan Weber will be here, as he always is on Fridays. We will talk to Mike McFarland about these moves the Royals made. Pete Sweeney will join us, talk a little Chiefs coming up, and Grunny will be on the phone with us as well. He's in Florida. He's a Florida man at this time of year. He didn't want any part of this 72-degree weather up here.
Beautiful morning.
Oh, my gosh.
Beautiful
it was great.
morning. Went
Did you
for
go
a
for a run?
Absolutely.
Deebs, did Deebs go for a run today?
Did you go for a run this morning, Deebs?
Missed it.
He missed it.
Not this morning. I've been going for walks all week, but I can go for a walk today. Didn't have time to get it done today. But we're underway here on New Day with SSJ. Without SSJ, we'll find. Is Steven on the road? I don't know. We're going to check in at some point, probably in the next 3.5 hours with Steven, and let us know if he's actually driving and on this vacation.
Tweet at him.
Yeah, he should have his hands on the wheel. Call Susan.
Right.
See what's going on. We're underway here on New Day. Welcome back into New Day with SSJ. Without SSJ, he's on vacation. He says this week, next week, he says it's going to bleed over into the next week after that. I just don't know. I don't know what to believe about him. I'm Todd Leabo. I know this. My alarm is set to get up for the next however many days it takes.
I believe he will be back the 12th.
He better be back the 12th.
He'll be back. He ain't coming back. Even if he's back in town, he ain't coming in on the 11th. I know you have hopes.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Stan Weber joins us as he does on Fridays. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well because the numbers that you are using really promote the idea that we've moved into a new month of August.
Yeah, we're here.
So
let's go.
When you're saying, well, 11th, 12th, all this debate, that
August.
means
what was on TV last night?
Oh, yeah, football. It was
football
great.
was on TV last night.
It was great. Even if you didn't enjoy the players that were playing, there's a chance that's the case. I get that. But, man, the announcers, the big boys started out with Mike Tirico and Chris Collinsworth, sounded so good. And we are going to get football every week from now on all the way through the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I do like the Hall of Fame game, too, because you get to, see the greats. And, sometimes you're like, oh, I forgot that guy was really that good because they're not all Tom Brady or whatever, right?
Exactly.
They've been around for a while. So it was neat to see the interviews and all that stuff.
And I like the induction ceremony that we'll see tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah.
It's amazing that I'll have tears rolling down my face hearing their story. Maybe something I didn't know about when they were young, a big point in their career, someone who made a big difference in their life. It's really fun to see and honor and remember that it's been at least 5 years. That's the minimum.
Right.
To
and
be
in
the
Hall
Hall
of
of Fame.
A lot more, some of these guys.
Right. I always am a little bit bummed when someone has already passed away.
Yes.
When, their wife or their son or daughter is here receiving the great honor. It's like, it's just not the same.
It's terrible.
It's not the same to me.
Horrible. The Baseball Hall of Fame, Dave Parker passed away just, less than a month before the induction. Super sad, and he was a guy who was a veterans guy for that. But so what stood out to you about the guys in this year's class? I mean, I'm just excited for Jared Allen. Jared Allen put some amazing numbers. He was a guy who was not a high draft pick, and we had a lot of fun with him here in Kansas City doing the Jared Allen show with Steven and all the stories. And he's been he was the first guest on New Day with SSJ last summer, right? At the dump, trying to dump some stuff off. And the guy,
he's real.
Yeah, he's a guy. He looks like he's skinnied up. He
looks great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, his presentation last night was very, very good, and he showed the greatest honor to Derek Thomas, saying that when he became a Kansas City Chief, that was a standard that he had to live up. You're either going to be a failure or you're going to up your game, and he learned that right away from one of the greatest pass rushers ever and a Chiefs legend. And then he went on to do such great things at Minnesota. Yeah, he just got a great attitude. But the class, to me, is more about that it's easier to make the NFL Hall of Fame than it is, baseball, obviously. They just almost make it impossible to be one, and that's why Salvador Perez going to be a Hall of Famer, I believe, is amazing. But you can celebrate guys who are really, really good and do a nice job, and their careers don't last that long. So sometimes you get a guy like Sterling Sharp, actually, his brother, who only played 7 years, I think, for Green Bay, but he was the go-to guy for Brett Favre.
Amazing.
They threw it to him every down. I mean, Brett Favre was not seeing the defense that well. Andy Reid was trying to teach him, and he would just go, Sharp's open, I'm throwing it to him. And he was a mixture of a tight end, wide receiver, great player. But these guys, to me, don't blow your mind off. Oh, man, Peyton Manning's getting in, or Tom Brady. If those classes came in, it'd be overshadowed by one guy. To me, this is just a good group of players. It'll be fun to think about, Eric Allen did this. I didn't really remember him finishing off as a Raider that much.
He was a really good player who was, a little undersized, kind of like Trent McDuffie sized.
Yeah. Yeah, he wasn't a physical
Tough.
monster out there, but just instinctive, made all the right plays.
Antonio Gates is a great story.
He was great.
Great story.
Yeah. One of the,
Never played.
Did you know he played basketball?
Yeah, I did. But he never played.
Undrafted.
Yeah.
Never played college football. And then he went out there and
one of the best.
And made play after play after play. So it's weird how when it comes selection Saturday, or induction Saturday, actually tomorrow, it's weird. All the biases of which teams I don't like and which players I didn't like.
There's not much for you to like about Eric Allen. This guy was an Eagle and a Raider.
I'm telling you, every year, the introduction of football or whatever, or the respect I have for what those guys have done and what it would mean to their families. And so every time I'm just engaged and happy to hear their story and happy for them. And I don't go, oh, you're a Raider, I don't like you. It just, I don't know what it is. It just goes away. And I tell you, I don't have many days of the year where I have tears running down my face. It's amazing on Hall of Fame Saturday. It might happen.
We need a live camera.
It might happen one or two
house,
times where I go, where did that come from? But you just, these guys are real human beings, and it's so hard, and they've lived a dream, and it doesn't mean it's been easy during the time. And when they show appreciation for an amazing high school coach or teacher, parent, child, when you see some motivation and something that drove them to be as great as they were when they never knew they were going to be. Let me tell you, high schoolers can have dreams of being Hall of Famers, but they don't really believe that's going to happen. And even a college player, when you are standing there as a Hall of Famer and then you think back, well, he's a Hall of Famer. He's known it his whole life. No, he didn't.
Yeah, I'll give you a little insight on my Jared Allen side, okay? So I wasn't at the Stephen St. John show putting Tabasco sauce in people's eyes. I listened to it, and it was fun. But I would get to interview Jared in the locker room. He was always a fun guy to talk to. I remember him, I think he went boar hunting once. And this was you went boar hunting not with a gun, like you jumped on the wild boar.
You made a tackle.
And knifed it, okay? I mean, like, these are things that I think were probably not in the standard NFL contract. They say don't go, skydiving
right.
or something like that. But I'm like, this guy is wild, okay? And he was a crazy guy and self-admittedly was not mature enough and didn't get to go to a big school, because he was just kind of a, wild guy, right? So he goes to a small school, gets drafted, late, but he got his shot to go to the NFL.
He was really a long snapper
right.
coming to the Chiefs,
right?
Not a defensive end, right?
He was a defensive end, but he could long snap. He could long snap, but
that was part of the reason they drafted him.
But then he was also very immature. He got a DUI, and now this was the old school. This was Carl Peterson hardballing, right? And we're kind of mix this in here. We got some hardballing going on in the NFL right now with this Terry McLaurin, right, deal in Washington. They can't get him signed, whatever.
Micah Parsons.
Trey Hendrickson. All these things are going on. So Carl Peterson, he uses this phrase. He's a player at risk. That's what he called him because this was all negotiating. Jared had straightened his life out and was being smart and knew that he was going to go get paid somewhere, right? But the Chiefs, when Carl Peterson said that irritated Jared. It irritated his agent. I used to call his agent, and he was so frustrated with the Chiefs and the way they were negotiating. They're like they were to the point there was not going to be a deal made. He was not. Now, this was a 4th-round pick who had not made like $20 million. Like, listen, Terry McLaurin has already made like $56 million with Washington. So whether they sign him or not, Micah Parsons has made a lot of money so far because he was a 1st-round draft pick, worth a lot more probably. And in my mind, Trey Hendrickson has made a ton of money so far, and he's trying to break the bank as a 30-some-year-old. Okay, whatever. Jared Allen was like 24 years old and had made $3 million or something in 4 years. He had not made a lot of money. This was back, I've told these stories before. Back in the day, the Chiefs had direct deposit for everyone but the players. The players didn't have direct deposit. Okay? So the players had to go up. This was the old stadium. They had to go up.
I used to be an auditor of the Chiefs
to
and
get a check.
Read every player's contract and everything else when I was very, very young. So I know.
So they had to
come get your check.
Come get your check. It was
from
like
the receptionist or the accounting department.
You had to go up there at the window, like you're working at the mill and get your check. Okay, that's the way they did it.
Game checks.
The game checks, and they did that because another quick story. 2003, Larry Johnson's rookie year. I was down in the locker room, and Mike Maslowski and maybe Sean Barber, I can't remember who was on the team then, were playing dominoes, and Monty Beisel, who is a rookie, had brought down Mike Maslowski's check for him. They allowed, I think, someone to pick the check up. You can bring Mike's check to him, right?
Rookie hazing.
And then I think it was Sean. I can't look at the years on who the linebacker was playing. Said, "Where's my check, rookie?" And Monty Beisel said, "Oh, I didn't know you wanted one. I could have got one of LJ's. There's 6 of them up there." So LJ was mad and wouldn't go pick his checks up. Well, the ownership loved that Because what's that mean, Stan? You're
The
an
money's
accountant.
still in your bank,
The money's
not
in your
the player's bank.
It's not in the player's bank, and you're getting interest on this thing, right? But everyone else had direct deposit. So they did that on purpose with the players. So listen, if you forget to go get it, you don't need the check, whatever. You take the check
It's like
home,
a gift
you've
card
got-
that you might accidentally not use.
just not use it, right? Man, I can get that check, whatever. So Jared Allen's agent did not want Jared his last year to have to walk upstairs and not beg for his money, but, pick his check up. He thought it was demeaning to him. And so what he did was he told me he sent 16 prepaid FedEx envelopes to the Chiefs and said every week you put his check in this envelope and you send it and it'll get sent to him and he'll go put it in the bank, right, to do this because he didn't want to. Now, my understanding now is it is direct deposit for everyone out there now. It's a different deal. Maybe it's part of the.
That's the kind of
the
things that
union
come in a
contract, I don't know.
collective bargaining agreement.
Right. But so Jared was at this point where, like, this is not happening here. It had gone too far. So it turned out to be an amazing trade for the Chiefs because they ended up getting Jamal Charles in the trade. They got multiple picks and all that stuff. It was a blockbuster trade.
Mm-hmm.
But
And the Vikings are happy as well.
the Vikings got a great player. Now, listen, he never got to go to the Super Bowl anywhere except where? He was on the Super Bowl with the Carolina Panthers. People forget that. He finally got there at the very end. But in my mind, I would have rather had Jared Allen be a Chief than a Viking. I love Jamal Charles and all that stuff, but Jared Allen fit Kansas City so perfectly, and the defense and the sacks and all that kind of stuff. I wish it hadn't gotten there,
Sack celebration.
but it got there. That's where it got.
Yeah.
And we see that happening all over the place where it gets there. Is that going to happen in Dallas with Micah Parsons?
I
Or
doubt it.
Michael Parsons? Michael Parson. Jerry called him Michael Parson.
It's Micah, but yeah.
It's Michael. He called him Michael. Is it going to get ugly? They got to
Jera.
trade him?
Oh, it's already ugly, but they won't.
Will
have to
they get
trade
that
him.
ugly?
Oh no, they'll pay him. They've done it with C.D. Lamb, Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
Dak tried to not make it ugly, but C.D. ended up being a little bit ugly.
Sure it is. The wide receivers make it uglier.
Yeah, and Micah, he's just very public. It seems more ugly than it is. They're going to end up paying him.
And he's in camp right now.
He's a hold in.
Hold in. He's
Yeah,
there.
he's there shaking
Not getting
hands.
fined.
He's not practicing.
Yeah.
But he's
not
there.
doing what he needs to do. No, and it's very interesting.
This
Yeah.
McLaurin thing's gotten ugly now. He says, give me a trade.
Yeah, he asked for a
That
trade.
is the newest thing.
Yeah. Give me a
But
trade.
that doesn't used to be you just laugh and say who cares. But now it seems like when players say that, it happens more often than not.
Right. Well, that's the question. Do you want someone to be there and be a problem or not?
Because Washington has so much going in the right direction.
Yeah, and he's a
Dan
big
Quinn's
part of
turned
that.
Yeah.
The new ownership, Dan Quinn, new head coach, the momentum's going, and then a great rookie quarterback who's just got a smile on his face all the time.
That's exactly why the Chiefs traded Tyreek Hill. They didn't want it to get ugly because it was going to get like this that year with Tyreek Hill. He had a year left on his deal, and he wanted to get paid $35 million AAV or whatever.
And Tyreek was younger, though. I mean, McLaurin's closing in on 30.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's on the last year of his deal at 30. They don't want to pay. Like, he wants the money.
He wants the big money.
The Chase money, the
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson money. And he's,
Kid, you're not
The
24 years
problem
old.
he's got is Debo Samuel just signed there.
Right.
I mean, if I'm the Washington team, I'm sitting there going, we don't need you quite as much. I mean, I know you've produced.
Debo can't
and all
stay
that.
healthy, so he's not a guy that you can completely depend on.
Well, I
know
don't
that
want to
they-
play against him, I tell you that.
No, yeah, for sure. But
I mean, I thought he was after Tyreek Hill, the second most
Dangerous type guy,
dynamic,
yeah.
dangerous, game-changing player that wasn't a quarterback in the whole NFL.
Yeah. It's something to watch, though, but it kind of goes back to Jared Allen. I'm so happy he's in the Hall of Fame because I think he deserves it. He put up huge sack numbers. He's a great player, great personality, good for the league, but I wish we'd have had him longer here. But we didn't have him longer here because you just get sideways with management. And I think the Chiefs right now have done a great job with this regime of just not letting it get there. You just don't let it get there. Tyreek, you're going to be a problem. We're going to trade you. They massaged Chris Jones enough through it, and now they've signed George Karlaftis. They signed Trey Smith. The big challenge, maybe Trent McDuffie. We'll see. Right now, everything's good.
Well, he's
see.
such a good guy. He's
Yeah.
not going to try to create havoc.
Yeah.
It's just going to be salary cap issues if it.
The Chiefs keep all that crap out of the news. They do a good job of it. And you
They
look
do an
around
amazing
the league,
job. And
the
then
rest of it's,
Andy Reid deserves a ton of credit,
just
as
keeps it.
do those two big-time leaders, Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes.
Don't let it get there.
They don't dictate in the locker room, but they can set a quiet tone of of how we were going to work with management, what we think of the organization. You know, a lot of times those players would just say, "Oh, we're a bunch of union guys," and go get a beer together and talk trash about the organization and say, "Hey, it's the NFL. It's not for long. They don't care about us." That's not the mentality that Patrick Mahomes has at all.
Yeah.
And it makes a big difference.
It does make a difference. Stan Weber is here. We are having fun on a Friday. Full day coming up. We still got some baseball to talk about. Trade deadline happened. Mike McFarland will be along. Pete Sweeney, Tim Grunhard. It's all here on New Day on Friday. How long is this? They play one Royals one here. Welcome back into New Day with SSJ. Trade deadline yesterday, Stan.
Hectic at the end.
Very hectic at the end. Let's play a soundbite here. I know you were talking last week about Freddie Fermin. You know, they made the trade. Right?
Wow.
They did this. And I think a lot of people...
I like Freddie, but it's still a good move.
Seth Lugo was their best trade piece, okay? But they signed him. And their next best trade piece was going to be Freddie Fermin. Now, Seth Lugo was going to be we're white flagging it. But they signed him. So that told you right then they're not white flagging it. Then they won a couple of games. And then so Freddie became someone people wanted. And so he went to the Padres, who were very active. They were in the buying mode because they're in a race with the Dodgers right now. this is a fairly long bite, but let's play this. This is J.J. Piccolo talking about Freddie Fermin and how difficult it is sometimes to get rid of someone who you love.
I will say that that's an emotional thing because you've had Freddie since he was 20 years old. You've watched him grind his way through the minor leagues. Nobody can outwork that guy. He was a perfect partner for Salvador Perez. Salvi mentored him in a way that he's ready to take over as a starting catcher somewhere. And he had a lot of value in the game. And this isn't new. The interest in Freddie is not new. That has been going on for the last year. I would say last trade deadline, this past offseason. Had we not traded Freddie today, we would have had a chance to trade him in the wintertime if we chose to do so. But I will say on a personal note, I really enjoyed Freddie. I think we all did. But I am very happy for him that he's getting an opportunity to play and maybe play a larger role on a good team. And for San Diego, he was a target for them. They've always had an affection for Freddie. So we knew we had a starting piece. And, of course, like we do with everything, you try to dance around it and go to other players. But they clearly had a need in the catching department that we could fill for them. The asking price for Freddie was steep. And a lot of teams walked away from anything that we would ask for Freddie, but San Diego didn't. It's two young starting pitchers. Both have tremendous futures ahead of them. I don't want to speak for San Diego, but, you get the vibe from them. That's why it took until today to get that done. You get the vibe from them that this was a difficult trade for both sides, which is what a good baseball trade should be. You're giving up players that you value, players that you trust. And they gave up two that I know they valued and trusted, and we gave up one that we really valued and trusted as well. So it was, I think I could say last night going to bed, I felt like it was better than 50-50 through some late conversations with San Diego. I felt like it might be here in the day, sometime during the day, preferred for it to be earlier in the day so we can move on to other things because it was two starting pitchers. I mean, San Diego was pretty busy today, so they had a lot going. So they had to have a lot of things fall in place before this happened. So it did, and we were able to execute the deal. So happy to get both players. I mean, it's going to be good for us. And as tough as that call is to Freddie, it's also, I think, welcoming for him to hear how valued he was. And to know that you got two starting pitchers. If you just took the emotions out of it, the passion, the excitement you have for the players and just say, can you get two starting pitchers for a catcher who right now isn't our number one catcher? You would do that trade over and over again. Just take the personal ties out of it. You would do it over and over again. So we think it made sense for both teams. And we want Freddie to do well for San Diego. And like I told him, let's play each other in the World Series, and that could be even better.
Transactional. That's what they said they were going to be, and this was pretty transactional because they do love Freddie Fermin. Freddie Fermin's been a big part of this team. He's more than just a backup catcher. He's not their number one catcher. Sal's their number one catcher, but he plays a little more than a lot of backup catchers do because Sal is playing some DH,
and first base.
Two starting pitchers for one catcher who's not your everyday catcher.
Yeah, and he is 30 years old. You think of Freddie Fermin being younger because he hasn't been up that long with the Royals, but I just root for him. Again, on the personal side, this is baseball. They get paid millions of dollars, and so we should just think of it, what's best for the Royals, what's best for management. But I hope he's happy being a starting catcher. I hope he thinks I get to play more. Hope he gets rewarded with the Padres playing really well in the playoffs. And so that takes a little bit of the sting away because he was such a good fit here with the Royals, doing what he did. And man, he when he played so well. Clutch hits, throwing guys out, running the bases, managing a pitching staff. I mean, I'm a big believer that the catcher has a lot to do with how the pitchers pitch and how comfortable they are. And he steps in, and you're being compared to Salvador Perez. I mean, you know what the stink eye you might get if they go, oh, Freddie's catching, not Salvi. If you're a starting pitcher only pitching once every 5 days, you're like, no, I want Salvi. But it didn't seem to matter at all. He called a great game, found a way to be consistent to keep the pitchers on the same page. He kind of to follow Salvi's lead in that way. Call the pitchers in the same way that Salvador Perez would so that they didn't mess the pitchers up. So, I mean, Freddie for me is easy to like, but you break it down, this is a good transaction for the Royals. Not that it's bad for the Padres. It's just okay to do this and getting more pitching, getting more control, getting younger. It's a good trade for right now, but just as importantly, what about next year and the year after?
I think a lot of fans are more like, where's the offense? They got Mike Yastrzemski. He's okay. He's
got a good name.
Better than what they've had in the outfield. He's going to platoon. He's going to be the lefty, and they'll use Adam Frazier and Grichuk and stuff like that, on the other side of it. But, the Mariners got bats. The Royals didn't get bats, but the Royals' real need turned into pitching real quick when everyone got hurt. Mm-hmm. So then their offense is starting to perform better on its own. You figured it couldn't be that bad.
That's what I figured.
They'd had.
I said, when is Salvador Perez going to wake up?
And Vinny's been hot, and Salvy's getting hot, and then
Bobby Witt Jr. is the guy I look to. Just start getting hot as well. Why wouldn't he?
And Maikel Garcia's getting hotter, and they've just played better. That's what JJ said in one of the first bites we played. It was like, they're playing better. When you score in runs, you're playing better. They've scored a lot more runs in the second half in the limited series they've had. Now, if they'd have pitched the way they pitched in the first half with the offense they had in the second half, they may have lost like 2 games in the second half of the season. But it's kind of all evening out.
Still got to run the bases well, okay?
Well, they don't do that. They don't do that. We'll see how that goes.
How many times do I mention that on this show?
It happens. It continues to happen.
First and second extra innings, no outs, and to get picked off. How do you do that?
Pick off in the game, the 1-0 game the other day.
I know. It's just,
I don't know.
This stuff can't happen.
It does.
Sliding over bases, bouncing. Do they not know you're supposed to keep your fingers or feet or body on the base? I think I teach my grandson, and he's 4.
Well, they're not moving as fast. 4-year-olds aren't moving as fast. It's easy to stay on the base.
It's still hard.
The big road trip. Toronto, Boston, Minnesota. Minnesota's team, boy, even talking about waving the white flag, they have 2 players under contract for next year, 2 on their roster right now.
But we still don't play well at Minnesota. It is one of the craziest things.
One at a time. Toronto first.
Battle the big boys.
We'll talk some more football here with Stan Weber on this Friday.